battery power went low. No longer able to use flash. Sorry if it just got darker. So now I have these punched. So the next step, now that I have these, this piece of leather is completely ready. Now for the inside leather, which is used to hold the book in place, I use something very thin. So I'm assuming this is a 1 to 2 ounce. It's about 1 millimeter. I don't know how much that equates. But you want something very thin. That way your book doesn't get too thick just from having leather. So I have this nice piece of leather here. Not sure really what it is, but for my purpose, it is going to be the inside of my book cover. So I have a straight edge already cut right here, so I don't need to worry about that. Now I know I like my holders to be about 4.5, so this edge right here is about 4.5, and so I just use this as my measurement. Makes life a lot easier. So just gonna come down here and I'll line this up with the edge. There's my pen. Make a mark right at the end. Actually, I'll make it about 4 1/4. Just make a mark at the 0. Do the same thing again down here. Now I'm going to take my straight edge. I'm going to line it up with those. Oops, I'm always knocking stuff off. Again, too small a workspace. Lined up with those marks. Take my knife. See, this is so thin, this little knife cuts right through it without any problems. And the reason why I'm not too picky on this is that this will be trimmed down on how I place these on, I should say. So now this is going to be 2 inserts that hold the pages in place. So you can see these are going to go on the inside like that. So this is just about perfect. It's a little bit bigger than the paper on either sides, which is what I want. Now I'm just going to cut this. So now I have 2 inserts. I also have this piece 1 inch that will become my straps. I already have my holes marked on it on one side. And so now this is what I'm going to use for when I put my buckles on and when I put my strap on. So this side will become my buckle, and this side over here will become my strap, which I think, I don't know how I want to do it. I got to figure it out, but I might need a little more leather. But anyways, I already have this piece of scrap for making those other ones. So what I do with these, I keep my life very easy. Rather than trying to cut the corners and everything now, I do it later. So all that I'm going to do is take some leather glue. I am going to go around the edges. You just need a little bit, because this is just holding it in place while we sew. Now I know that this and this are straight edge, so I'm just going to place it down. I'm going to line it up. Any glue that seeps out is okay, because I have one of these erasers that they make for erasing glue and stuff off leather. So now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to start in the middle, work my way out. And I'm just putting pressure down, keeping this on that edge, be nice and perfect, and then in about 5 minutes, once the glue sets, then I will trim off the excess. I do the same thing on this other side. Again, all about working smarter, not harder. So now, while that's drying, set that off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and work on my straps. So, I use brass colored buckles. And how these work is you just feed this up, you feed it down, and then I put some glue and then I hand stitch right here along this to keep this in place and then glue it down. Some people stitch along the edges, and that's good for if you're using longer straps, but these are so short, it's really not necessary. The glue is strong enough to keep the pieces together for this side. Now on the buckle side, generally yes, I would go ahead and stitch that on the machine. But the glue really for this and these right here are then keep in place. And really this is as big as you need it for the actual buckle itself. Because if you look at the stencil, the holes are very close. Oops. The holes are very close to the edge. And so what you want is you want this to line up with those holes, and you want the buckle to be on the front cover. You don't want it hanging off the sides. So you want it this side to be pretty short. So something like this. I usually keep it so the holes, so the edge of the rivets are then be right on the edge. So something just like that will work. Now I'm going to go ahead and just take this, hold it down. And I will be putting a rounded edge on this, so I'm just for now cutting that off. So that is our first part of the buckle. Just we'll glue that, and I'll use this as guides for placing holes on this. So this is gonna be my strap. Let me see, is this long enough? I'm thinking But if this was going from the back wrapped around the front, it's going to be awfully close. You only have about that much, and I would like a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this again. This is a 1-inch strip, so it's not too hard to make a 1-inch strip. Go ahead and just use this down here in this little area that's probably not going to be used much. I'm going to make a straight edge down at the bottom, something like this. And when your leather starts moving like that as you go to the edge, hold the leather that you're cutting with your finger and cut away from it. You can get a nice straight edge. Okay, so right here is a nice, now it's just 1 inch. Don't know why I did that, didn't need to do that. Just gonna cut it with the ruler, with the X-Acto, I mean. So there's this. All right. Oops. Cut that off. Use this as my guide. Mark my holes. There they are. So now that's good. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue this one. Just making sure it's covered in glue. Oops. Doesn't have to be perfect. But the closer you can get it to perfect, the easier your life will be. Go. And I usually use a little clip to hold it, which I don't know where I put my bag of clips. Oh well, not that big a deal, because really already it's holding. So I'm going to set that off to the side. And now we're going to put these two strips together. First I need to punch these holes. One. Man, not wanting to go through this one. There we go. Time to sharpen my hole punch. All right, took me a little bit, but these are kind of punched. All right. So that'll work enough for make my marks. So just gonna glue these two together, and then that'll be the first part of this video. The next part, I will stitch them on my stitching machine, burnish the edges, and call it a day. Glue all over my hands. Try and line them up the best you can. And these will need to be trimmed down because the hole is 1 inch, so you usually got to trim a little bit off each side. That is it for my first part. I'm going to let all the glue dry and then come back when it's dry and finish it up.